If you follow the trend recently of this undresser that happened on Twitter.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that you get to
that
face.
Reporters have to face.
Yes,
wow.
That you get to face as a woman. So many things, and every little thing they bring your gender to it. Oh, I can't talk to you because you're a woman, or maybe is your husband aware you're doing this? Is this maybe when you're
and if you're not married, what happens?
Express every thought, every motive, every opinion. It all matters here. Expression is not a pattern of the weak. It is strength at its peak. So speak up.
Hello viewers, welcome to a new episode of the Freedom Mic, a space for fearless conversations about freedom, justice, and the power of expression. I am Funke Adeoye, your host, and with me today is a woman who works tirelessly behind the scene to uncover truths. Editor of the International Center for Investigative Reporting, one of Nigeria's leading investigative journalism platforms. She has helped amplify voices, held the powerful to account, all while mentoring a new wave of fearless reporters. Her work reminds us that journalism is democracy's early warning system. Victoria Bamas.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much. Thank you very much. That was a glowing intro.
Yeah, it's such a huge privilege to have you this morning on our show.
The pleasure is mine.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a couple of patriotic questions before we get right into it. How many states in Nigeria have you visited?
I know it's over 30.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so 30. Can you give us 4 states that starts with A and 3 states that starts with O, with letter O?
Okay, I have to recite the okay, we have Abia. Okay. Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra. So that's 4.
That's 4. You need to clap.
Yeah. So for O, I'm reading the state and capital. So we have Osun, we have Oyo, we have Ogun, we have you said 4 Ondo.
That's 4. I actually said 3, but so that's that's a good one. So you're really a very great and patriotic Nigerian. But yeah, we're happy to have you on this show, and we want to thank you so much for the great work that you do. So I'm just going to go right into the question. As an editor at ICIR, you have helped shape a lot of powerful voices and a lot of stories that hold institutions accountable. Why do you think investigative journalism is important in a democracy like Nigeria, and what keeps you committed in spite of the risk?
Okay, I think first thing first, I would say that a country that is developing like Nigeria, we do not have, our institutions are not very strong. So they, by themselves, cannot self-regulate, unlike we have in other developed countries. But even there is still a need for investigative journalism, not talk more of here, whereby we always have the strong man system or the strong woman in an institution. So it now means there is a need for people to what would I call it, do the watchdog function, to be able to look at those institutions that are not strong on their own, to be sure that they're doing what they are supposed to be doing. And to also add, a country that is developing like Nigeria needs all the resources it can get.
Yes.
And over time, we've discovered that not just we, even people in government in anti-corruption have stated that procurement is one of the highest form of corruption that happens. If they can stem that, it's going to actually help development. And that's one of the things we actually do as an investigative platform, to look into procurement reporting. So as to, first of all, aside holding the relevant authorities to account, also make the citizens, people aware of this, give them that knowledge so that they can also perform their own civic. They can also carry out their own civic participation by ensuring that what is supposed to be done and given to them is done.
So that's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because, I mean, you said a whole lot of things, but one of the things I got from what you said is the power of awareness that investigative journalism brings, even for citizens. So even though journalists do the job, it's really to empower citizens so that they can have the knowledge that they would use to hold the government accountable. That's one thing that I really got from what you said. And I'm curious to know, so oftentimes those of us in the civic space talk about SLAPs, known as strategic lawsuits or litigation against public participation, but the average person on the streets might not necessarily understand that. So I have this question I would like you to just answer. What would you say is the cost of speaking your mind in Nigeria?
All right, so because I'm a media person and I'm in the accountability media space, I'm going to speak from that perspective.
Okay.
So like you rightly pointed out, there are a lot of costs. First of all, there is the mental cost, mental, because doing an investigative report is in-depth, it's intense, it's financially draining, it's time draining. So it's impacting on you, focusing on that. And of course, by extension, it's also impacting your family because it's taking away time that you should be spending. That's that. On the resources part, it's quite expensive to run investigative reporting because let's say somebody needs to do something in Kano, for instance, somewhere in Abuja. You have to think of flight, think of accommodation, think of the person's safety. So there's that. Then even aside that, then you now have to face why you're doing that, because when you're doing accountability reporting, you're holding people to account, then asking them, oh, you did this wrong, or you didn't do this wrong, or this, that. The people themselves will fight back. And they fight back in different ways. Sometimes they fight back using security agencies whereby you are intimidated. Sometimes it might be a coordinated attack, online harassment, you get that. Sometimes it's even weaponized strategic litigation against people.
Arrest and detention.
Yes, detention, lawsuit. And lawsuit is also not cheap.
Yes, extremely expensive.
There is that one. And we've also gotten even abuse. So you get maybe somebody you're maybe investigating, or somebody that or even comes people, they can be very rude to you, and or they call you, and because you don't want to do their bidding, they start raining insult on you. So those are just some of the things one face.
Wow. As you were speaking, I'm just thinking about how the work that you do is for the people. You need to do this work for democracy to thrive. But then part of the backlash that you face is not even just from government, it's also from the people. And I'm just curious to know if, as a woman in journalism, there are specific, threats that you face that, that are specific to you as a woman, or maybe other women reporters or journalists that you've had to work with over time. What does that look like?
From just being a woman already in Nigeria as a space is difficult. You're working over time. You're also trying to prove yourself. That's that. And there are so many issues. So let's even just talk. I remember, there is this story, I think it wasn't sex for greed. It was, I can't recall the story that was done. It was an investigation. If I remember correctly, I think the reporter was Runa Meya. She did it, that was 5, 7, 8 years ago. And at the comment, it was an investigative report. She has spent all those time, energy to do it. And what people were busy talking about was her looks, like, oh, she didn't do her makeup well, she would have done this, she would have done that. This is already detracting from
the real work that she had to put in.
So that's just that. So of course there is the sexual harassment that actually happens to a woman. I've had instances where reporters will go to meet a source or even not just source, even public officials to speak with, and there will be proposition. I will say, oh, you have to maybe meet me at XYZ place before I can actually talk to you. So that's already that. And I don't know if you guys follow the trend recently of this undresser that happened on Twitter.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that you get to face.
Reporters have to face.
Yes, that you get to face as a woman. And so many things. And every little thing, they bring your gender to it. Oh, I can't talk to you because you're a woman, or maybe is your husband aware you're doing this? Is this, maybe when you're...
And if you're not married, what happens?
Yeah.
You're like, persona non grata.
That's why you're not married. Somebody like you. Maybe when you're asking somebody a question pertaining, oh, this, or like, no. So those are some of the challenges that we face in this particular. Of course, there is even the security challenge that if I'm clearing a reporter to go to the field, a man, of course, you check that. For a woman, you also have to go the extra mile. Check what happens if she's overpowered. There is those extra things that you have to take into consideration.
Yeah, and as you're speaking, I'm just thinking that I wonder if you even have enough resources to put all this cushion in place, or enough support. What does it look like? Do you get enough support maybe from the government? Are there policies that protect human rights defenders? There are policies that protect human rights defenders, and then journalists. Yeah. do you get that kind of support from the government or maybe from your networks? What is it like, the space for support?
Yeah, the space for support, I would say it's multi-layered. So over time, because of the work we do, we already know that it's not something you can do alone. So you have to belong to several collaborations and network, so that if there are issues, they will help you. Like for instance, 2 years ago, I think that should be 2022 or 2023, when our reporter was invited to the police for some questioning, and he was held over time.
Wow.
It was due to the network that we belong and the fact that there was a lot of people talking about it, and that was what eventually led to his release. So that's how there is that. Of course, and there are some people who try to give funding to support this. From the government itself, do we get support? In reality, the Nigerian Constitution in itself has already guarantees the freedom of the press.
Yeah, Section 39. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And it also gives the press its mandates.
Yes.
That's to hold the government accountable for the public.
Yes.
It's already there,
Yes.
right? So that's that. But it does not go to the other. I don't want to say criticism. The other aspect of it is, when you are now carrying out this mandate that this constitution has
of
given,
holding the government accountable.
yes, there is no that support, that protection that it gives. So I would say in a way there is those effort to show that the constitution allows and recognizes the work we do. But there is not. And another thing that I will say has helped the press from the government side, I would say, is the signing of the Freedom of Information Act.
Oh, okay.
That should be 2011.
Yes, yes.
So I think it's something that has helped us because it gives us access to information in theory.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that in practice, how has that been?
Yeah, in theory it has, but in reality it's a far cry. But it's still a step in the right direction because we've been using it and it's been helpful to a certain extent. But the other thing is, how we also do is we belong to network and collaboration, whereby we use it to form as a pressure group. So when we're requesting for information from XYZ, they know that we have all these persons behind us, so they are more likely to respond.
That's interesting. Again, one thing that keeps resonating with everything you said is the power of people. The fact that, this is something that you can't do alone. You have to work with coalitions, network, and then, of course, the fact that we also need stronger policies in theory and also in practice. And just again, to build up on this question, I'm just wondering how you think we can strengthen this group of voices. So you've talked about other media houses. I'm thinking you would also need more support from the legal points of view. That's like lawyers. So how can we strengthen this movement of people for a stronger press?
All right. So aside, of course, having collaboration with media, another thing we do is a collaboration with CSO, relevant civil society organizations. And something that, because earlier this year, I did a report around the different challenges and harassments over time that the ICR has faced, and so when people read that, they're like, oh, we didn't know you guys go through all this kind of stuff. So in the process of that, because I was speaking to a lot of persons, one of the conversations that keep coming up is saying that there should be some kind of media fund, endowment fund for issues like this, not for the newsroom operation, but to challenge slaps, to challenge harassment, to support. So it's something that came up during that conversation, and it's something that I know that in some groups they are trying to speak it, see how that can work, and if it comes, it will help. Then the other thing that has come up is in the funding space, there is this conversation that aside funding to do that journalism, maybe the journalism that exposes, like I said, we do procurement reporting, or there should also be a component of it that actually takes into cognizance, okay, this 3% here will go into media defense, will go into legal defense. That's that thing that...
Because legal defense is not cheap.
It's not cheap. It's quite time consuming, and it's very resource draining. Very, very. So I think that's that. Then, and the other conversation that came up is trying to work with the bodies, you see, is that the correct word now for lawyers?
Nigerian Bar Association.
And other relevant
Yes.
lawyers.
Legal Aid Council.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as to actually have a, for them to be able to put some of their resources to lawyers. The nitty-gritty has not yet been finalized.
Okay.
To be able to render support to. So these are some of the conversations that are being held in different spaces, and fingers crossed that they will come to fruition.
Yeah, I think those are really important conversations that we need to have, because when I want to imagine that the pushback you face, the people who come with the pushback usually have the resources, whether it's private individuals who maybe there's a story against them and they are enraged, or even the government, they usually have the resources. So, and then I know that the media, the press always runs on very little resource, even to manage their newsroom. So oftentimes we would not usually think about what happens if there's a backlash. So I think this media fund or this thing around resources would really, really be helpful. Wow, it's really been an interesting conversation, but I have just 2 more questions for you. If you could speak directly to young reporters and storytellers listening today, what would you tell them about courage, ethics, and the rewards of truth-telling?
My mantra or my motto or something that keeps me going is the fact I believe that we that do accountability reporting, we're doing the Lord's work. So that's what I tell myself, that everybody has their calling to do. Some persons, it's charity. So this in itself, aside from the fact that it also pays the bill, it's public service that we're doing. And we have to know that we want Nigeria to be great, we want Nigeria to be as other countries, but somebody has to do the work. So everybody has to, it has to be an all hands on deck situation. And this is what we can do in our own part, to try to hold people to account, to tell people that this is what this is or that. So yes, so that's what I'm going to tell you. If you're doing this, know that
you're doing the Lord's work.
Yes, know that.
And the Lord's work, the blessings are enormous here and in the afterlife. Thank you so much. My last question for you would be, if you could design a freer media space, or let me say a freer civic space, what is the one reform you would start with? One, just one. There are several.
One.
Yeah, one.
In Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria.
One reform I will. Oh, it's very, very, it's big. It's I don't even want to say. It's the one reform. It's actually not even in the media space itself. Okay. It's outside the media space. It's the judicial process, the judicial reform. If we have a judicial process that is easy to fast, that is dependable, yeah, we'll be able to do our work without fear and intimidation. We'll be able to do our work without even self-censorship, because what happens is when you keep getting threats, getting harassment, you also think about the journalists, think about every other thing, think about your resources. So
your families.
Yes, unconsciously you begin to self-censor yourself. You want to do a story, you look at all the big people involved. You're like, if these guys come for us, can we withstand it? Do we want to go against them? But it's just, we're just fortunate to be able to have enough backing and the kind of place to work to be able to go. But there are media houses who won't go after some stories, not because they are compromised, not because they don't want to do it or they don't see it.
Self-preservation.
Yes, it's because they know they can't stand the fight. But if they know there is a judicial, they can always seek, or if they are sued, the process will be a bit fair, will be faster, will be swift. A lot of persons will. So that's the
they will not be victimized.
That I will, if I have this power.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria Bamas. It has really been an insightful conversation, Victoria. Thank you so much for the great work that you do, for the thankless service that you provide for the people. And on behalf of Hope Behind Bars Africa and the Center for Journalism and Innovation Development, we have a token for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a nice bag already.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Dear viewers, once again, this is the Freedom Mic, a space for fearless conversations about freedom, justice, and the power of expression, brought to you by Hope Behind Bars Africa in collaboration with the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, with the support of the National Endowment for Democracy. Do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms, subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel. Once again, I remain your host, Funke Adeoye. Until next time, stay informed, stay brave, and keep your voice alive.
I tried to speak. Now I open my mouth, but only muffled words come out because the society wears me a face mask. And somehow I did hope that it would mask my discomfort too and come forth in too, portraying dual resilience to my caged words and thoughts. How do I communicate when alphabets are forbidden in this continent? It's a taboo. You dare not say a word. Keep shut. If you don't want your life to be cut short through bullet shots or doors locked shut, bridle your tongue. Saddle yourself with the responsibility of holding your words. Bustle it in, you're not the only one. Just find a way to cope, there's no ray of hope. Everyone has something to say, but rather than staying at bay, just keep mute. They say refuse to blow the flute of perspectives and narratives, outrightly giving room for legal thieves. After all, they can't be rebuked. No one speaks. For how long will this remain? How long will we rest in the bosom of pain? Is this our lot? We have a lot to say. Why should we cower in fear, silently wiping every tear with tears on our coats, gulping lies coated in glitters, one which litters our intellectual environment? Enough! Enough of holding back, making situations a hard nut to crack. Enough. Enough of hoarding knowledge in a bid to stay safe. That's pretty ironic. We are endangered daily when we refuse to make use of our freedom of speech. If our right to speech is redundant, then we have nothing left of the words our heroes cleft onto. You see, it all starts with a worldview expressed through your word view. Your words express the depth of your wholesome mind, desires you find far-fetched. Look no further. It's all within arm's length. If you just speak up. To the timid boy in Jigawa who wants to make history like Tafawa Balewa. To the zealous soul in Oyo who wants to lead positive change like Obafemi Awolowo. To the quiet girl in Umuahia who wants to change narratives like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. It all starts with your speech. This wide reach you envision, exterminating division intermediately, wholly and fully. It all starts with your speech. So feel free to yarn, free to express yourself in words you deem fit and nothing fit to deem your light. You see, your mouth is a collection of knowledge, sharp as two-edged sword, cutting into situations and speaking your opinion. Yes, your speech flows over issues like the waves in a beach. You teach and educate the masses, so speak. Here, your opinions matter. Your thoughts shouldn't be whispered under your breath. Your breath of wisdom is needed here, so speak. Express every thought, every motive, every opinion. It all matters here. Expression is not a pattern of the weak. It is strength at its peak. So speak up.